Hello and welcome back to Good Game Nation, where we bring you all things TCG. My name's Preston, and today we got just an absolutely jam-packed episode of the news. Not only is the full Extra Booster Pack set released as a card list, which we'll be doing color reviews shortly on what is in this set, but also just let's jump into some alt art appreciation real quick. All of the alt arts have been released on Twitter. I think we've shown some of these before. The Brook with the Laboon, incredible. Shirihoshi, Viola, the Charlotte Brat. We've already seen a lot of these from leaks and stuff. I might have shown them from the Twitter post. But they're all out. They're not in the card list yet. They usually come when the set comes out, I believe, and that is next weekend. But I wanted to just show off these cards because they're beautiful. Kairos has his wife and daughter in the background, and it's just such a great composition. Incredible. Even Hannibal has a great background with his subordinates in the background. I love that Magellan's there. I think it would have been funny character-wise if Magellan was in a suboptimal position instead of above him, just based off of Hannibal's personality. And then we got another incredible Odin alt art, and it has the 9 scabbards in the background, and it has Conjuro here, and it goes all the way around the outside, and they're really, like, just seeing it in the photo, it looks really nice. Can't wait to see it in person, because I'm sure just there's like looks like hockey lines, and like everything is just going to be so good looking. And we finally got it. I think a lot of people expected it, but we do get the Chopper as our manga for Extra Booster Memorial Collection 01, whatever you want to call it. Some nice scenes. We got this one in the bottom right hand corner as a card, and some really great moments from his first arc in the story. I would like to have seen something better put in this upper left corner, since the actual Chopper bit is really small. Maybe a monster point would have been really cool, or some of the later stuff, not just sticking to the one arc that it's using here. But that's early Chopper. I guess that's what we get for it. I think it's gonna be a well sought after card just because it's Chopper, out of like the cuteness factor. But overall, I think it's probably gonna be less than most mangas, just based off of my personal opinion. But that's take that with a grain of salt. I've been wrong often. This could just be one of the more expensive ones, because One Piece is just getting more expensive at this point. So this will be, I believe, the next set that we get. So we'll see what happens. Let's move on to the absolutely nonsensical amount of stuff that we got for the OP07. So all of this got leaked earlier this week, but then got an official release on the live stream that happened last night-ish. One of the online stream tournaments from Japan released all of these next few cards, which is just so much. So I'll try to get through them as fast as possible so you don't have to spend too much time listening to me talk about this stuff. Our first card, Monkey D. Dragon, Red Leader, 5 life, 5k power, Revolutionary Army. Activate main once per turn. Give up to a total of 2 of your currently attached Dawn to one of your characters. Very interesting. I think this is the first of its kind, moving currently attached Dawn or doing anything with that. The red starter deck Luffy has to be from your Dawn zone into play. So this is currently in play Dawn, move to another character. Crazy value there. Mono red, so we're going to be using all of the red Revolutionary Army stuff that we had in previous sets. Plus, we're getting an incredible addition to the Revolutionary Army with a super rare Monkey D Dragon right next to it. Monkey D Dragon, red character, 8 cost, 9k power, Revolutionary Army, Rush. On play, give your leader or up to one of your characters up to 2 Rested Dawn. Okay, so they stayed pretty similar from its leader effect, but on play you get to move 2 Rested Dawn, so that's from the way it's worded in the translation is probably going to be from your Dawn zone, and moving it into play, and then your leader can then move those 2 in play from a character to a different character. I think that's a really good value, especially since it's on play and you're going to have 8 Rested Dawn to be able to move, or at least you'll be able to move 2 of them into play, and we'll see if we get some more Revolutionary Army characters that will also move Rested Dawn or move active-sided Dawn into another character, just like the leader. I kind of wish the dragon was a little bit more oriented to what is already happening in the Revolutionary Army, but I think you could still play this in Rev Army. It works for the other effects as being within that cap for power, but it just kind of feels off to me. We'll see if we get more that will support both, because I think that will be really nice for Betty and Savo. Next up, we got the blue reveal. Alright, Boa Hancock, blue leader, 5 life, 5k power, 7 warlords of the sea, Kuja pirates. During your turn, once per turn, you may activate this when a character leaves play from one of your abilities. If you have 5 or less cards in your hand, draw 1 card. So once per turn, if you have 5 or less cards in your hand, you get to draw if you remove a card from play. The way it's worded, it says leaves play. I wonder if they're going to rule that as KOs or like return to hand or bottom of the deck. We'll have to see what exactly that means, and how it gets translated to English, because that could mean a couple different things. In any case, blue bounces a ton of cards, and towards late game is going to have a ton of power. So we have a lot of potential in what this leader is going to do. It is mono blue, so we're going to have to look at maybe 7 warlords or the blue navy stuff to see what fits best. In all hope, this stuff that comes out for this set, the Kuja pirates, are just going to be fantastic, and we won't have to dip too deep into our other archetypes. But again, I can't not see Kaya get played in blue decks at this point. Now on to our character Boa. Boa Hancock, blue character, 6 cost, 8k power, 7 warlords of the sea, Kuja pirates. On play, up to one of your opponent's characters other than Monkey D. Luffy cannot attack until their next turn. Then, place up to 1 cost 1 or less character on the bottom of its owner's deck. That's pretty crazy 6 cost. Stun locking something, as long as it's not Luffy, of course. Or the turn is crazy. Cannot attack means it, based off of this wording, would mean you could select active or rested. This is interesting. And then also including a bounce is pretty crazy. Having 2 really decent effects, really good effects even, on a single card at 6, so as early as turn 3. Most likely a little bit later so that you can really get the effect. And then if you're playing this in black, that cost 1 or less could almost be anything at this point. So if you're playing this fairly late in the game, stunning something, sending pretty much anything to the bottom of your deck with all the crazy stuff that the Black Navy stuff can do and CP9 and 0 stuff can do, would hit pretty much anything. So this is probably good in Sakazuki. They have a really good list right now and it's really tight, so I don't know if it gets there, but if they need to adapt, why not look at Boa for that new spice that could keep that deck alive. Okay, moving on to our purple leader. Those crazy they did it. They brought this character to the game. And not only am I extremely disappointed, but I'm also extremely excited for what the Foxy Pirates bring. Disappointed because I hate this arc and I hate this character, but extremely excited because I hate this character and I hate this arc. I really can't wait to see what happens with these guys. And as you can see, there's a character right there that we're going to get into right after we talk about this Foxy Leader. Foxy, purple leader, 5 life, 5k power, Foxy Pirates. When attacking, Dawn -3. If you have 3 or more Foxy Pirate characters in play, choose up to one of your opponent's rested leaders and character. The cards you choose do not become active during their opponent's next refresh phase. So this is interesting because it says choose up to one each of your opponent's rested leaders and characters. Without wording, it means you get to choose a character and their leader that do not get refreshed. So if your opponent has attacked with their leader, they're not attacking next turn, which is pretty crazy to have in a leader ability. It's kind of a tuned up and tuned down version of the Luffy Leader, or the Luffy character, but having it on leader at a -3 is really interesting. I don't see this getting used very heavily unless there's a ton of ramp in Foxy, or we can find enough support to get that ability multiple times. But I do see it being used in the in-game so that your opponent can't respond to big moves. And I really do think that it's more of an in-game ability right now, at least as the game stands. I can't imagine using a -3 effect multiple times and still being able to play stuff, unless all of the characters are very low cost and you don't need to have a ton of Dawn, then it's possible. I know that the red-purple law often plays with low Dawn, but I also think has the ability to do so because it's moving the game along. I can't imagine you resting a character and a Dawn on turn 2, or a character and a leader on turn 2 to gain anything. So unless the Foxy Pirates are very low cost to where you only need 4 to 5 Dawn to get all of your stuff going and getting stuff into play, then maybe you use it more than once or more often. But being able to stop stuff from restanding is crazy. So I can't wait to see what happens with the Foxy Pirates, but I'm also just so disappointed that there's Foxy Pirates in this game. Really problematic opinion, I think, because this is exciting for this game. I love that they're bringing in these characters. All right, moving on to our character here. Porche, purple character, 3 cost, 5k power, Foxy Pirates. On play, Dawn -1. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. You may add up to 1 card with the type Foxy Pirates to hand. Place the remainder at the bottom of your deck in any order. Then, you may play up to 1 4k power or lower character from your hand. That's pretty cool. It's a searcher that can then play the card that you find or any 4k power or lower card from your hand. So I would have to look at all purple 4k or less to see all of the shenanigans you can get with this. But this is a 3 cost searcher for this deck, which is already a good start. We would like to see 1 cost, kind of like the jewelry Bonnies and stuff like that we saw early on, but with a secondary effect that gets to play something, that's I'll pay the extra Dawn for that. Especially because it doesn't say it has to be a Foxy Pirate, at least in the translation and just scanning. I don't see the brackets for Foxy Pirates in the effect. So we're going to be able to play any 4K. If we're able to find cards that ramp or give us more cards on board, if the Foxy Pirates have 4K or lower characters that do more crazy stuff, kind of like the green film stuff did, bring out character after character, then we line up for our leader ability really easily. Getting 3 characters on board won't be a problem, especially when your searcher is bringing a character out. Probably best used when you already have a 4K or lower target in hand, and not hoping to get it off of your search. Really want to take full options on this ability, And I'm really curious if you play this in any other deck to get a 5k power character on board and a 4k power on board, and not run a ton of Foxy Pirates. We'll have to see how we mix this into stuff, because this could be really good to spam out some stuff in purple. Really excited to see what they do with this card, and we'll definitely be looking at its options in the future. Okay, I'm done talking about Foxy Pirates. We're going to be talking about them for a long time, and hopefully if they're good, we'll be talking about them even longer. So let's move on to Big Arm Lucci. Rob Lucci, black character, 5 life, 5k power, CP 0. When attacking, you may trash the top 2 cards of your deck. Give up to one of your opponent's characters -1 cost for this turn. Okay, I mean, it's a leader. -1 is pretty nice. The cost of 2 cards off your top of your deck is interesting, because black loves to send stuff to the grave so they can do stuff with it now. Anything from sending it back to the bottom of your deck with your Lucci character, or doing crazy stuff with Gecko Moria and, oh my goodness, and Rebecca, just feeding your graveyard or your trash. But a -1 for 2 cards off the top of your deck, I feel like this is an underwhelming leader. I think for 2 cards and only a -1, I feel like you could do better. I feel like Smoker even feels better than this, but we'll have to see how the CP 0 stuff feeds into this and if it's worth it, because just a mono black leader that only does a -1, I feel like you just stick with Sakazuki, the best deck in the game still. Let me know in the comments if this is a bad opinion and Lucci is broken and I'm just not seeing the options here. I understand that stuff going to the trash is really good, but I would like to see more. Sakazuki draws and it does so much, and it's there, and it's just annoying. This is kind of meh to me. Let me know if I'm wrong. I would love to hear your opinions about Lucci in the comments. Moving on to our next character. Stussy, black character, 9 cost, 9k power, CP 0. On play, you may place one of your characters into the trash, KO up to one of your opponent's characters. Okay, so a 1-for-1. It doesn't specify cost on either side, so at the end game, if you have searchers on board that you aren't attacking with, let's get rid of our low cost, low power cards on the field, and let's choose their 10 cost card that can be KO'd by character effects. So yeah, I mean, that seems kind of incredible. It is a 9 cost, so you're using a lot of your turn to do this. That's, I think, the downside is it's a 9 cost, but it's also KO anything as a character that's going to be attacking the next turn at 9k plus. I'm just hesitant about the cost, really. It's a very expensive card. A good game-ending card to KO something that's on board that's really annoying. I think you can do it for less, though, but you don't have that character on board after that. Tell me, again, black is such an interesting color. Is this useful? Is this good? I feel like black does removal way cheaper than 9 cost, but it does net a character on board. That's tough for me. Let's move on. We still got a lot to talk about. Alright, moving on to green. Alright, we got 2 green cards. We got our new leader. Let's see what they do. Jewelry Bonney, green leader, 5 life, 5k power, supernovas, Bonney Pirates. When opponent attacks once per turn, tap 1 Dawn, rest up to one of your opponent's leaders or characters. So when they attack, you get to rest something else. So if they attack with a character first, for a cost of 1, you tap their leader. If they attack with their leader, for a cost of 1, you tap their 9 or 10 cost character at the end of the game. Basically, stopping a single attack, stopping one attack that could be much worse than the initial attack. I think this is going to change how people play against Jewelry Bonney, but overall it feels incredible, honestly. Being able to stop at an attack every turn just for 1 Dawn is probably the cheapest counter that we have to just completely outright stop an attack. Playing some like Don Quixote Pirates that say they restand Dawn is going to probably be crazy in this deck. Am I just thinking about it, giving yourself a little bit more Dawn on your opponent's turn to do more shenanigans, to have a counter plus this, seems like it's going to be where it's at. Can't wait to see more. But also it has all of the Supernova Pirates that we're probably going to get. As we can see, there's a Supernova right next to her that we'll get to in a second. So having all of the stuff we've already seen, we have a Searcher already, we have some good stuff that we're already playing in Red-Green Law. And we'll just have to see what it does, because I think stopping an attack every turn is going to be really good. That feels really good to me. I just don't know if it feels good enough to not play our Tier 0 Sakazuki. The characters might change everything. Let's see what this one does. Basil Hawkins, green character, 6 cost, 7k power, Supernova, Hawkins Pirates. If your leader has Supernova in its type, this character gains blocker. Once per turn, if this character were to be removed from play by one of your opponent's effects, you may instead rest one of your opponent's characters. So it does Basil stuff. It doesn't die. That's really cool. Becoming a blocker, you probably aren't playing this in something that doesn't have Supernova. Unfortunately, at 6 cost, it's above the law play that I would like to see. I love to see Supernovas at 5 or lower. But at 6, you might be able to sneak it into a law deck. Maybe. But being able to rest one of your opponent's characters instead of being KO'd himself is pretty crazy. It has a lot of staying power. They have to try to KO it. And at 7k, it could be pretty sticky. And it's going to be a blocker. So being able to attack into it, maybe the first attack doesn't get through because he blocks, and you're not attacking with a large enough character, but that second attack, you're definitely going to try to run it over and hope that Bonney doesn't do some shenanigans to stop that. So it's looking like a very interesting counter meta type deck, stopping your opponents from attacking, stopping your opponents from having characters that are active. We get some stuff like that does like the 10 cost Ophi does, that keeps stuff rested, just to manipulate your opponent's turn so they can't do as much. This will be super fun to see what happens with. If it doesn't get the support it needs, just like every other color, it's not going to be good. But it's really exciting to see just the first 2 cards and the potential that we're going to get out of green and Supernovas, and what it's going to do to red-green Luffy and Law could be great things. It could revitalize the red-green Luffy that really hasn't gotten play, and it could make red-green Law stupid again. That's the risk we take here, and I think it's going to be really exciting to see where it goes. Moving on to the most interesting leader that I think we are going to have. Vegapunk Yellow Leader, 2 life, 5k power, Egghead Scientist. This leader cannot attack. Activate main once per turn, tap 1 Dawn, place up to 1 cost 5 or less card with Egghead from your hand face up on the top of your life into play. So for a tapping of 1, you put a 5 cost into your life that has Egghead, basically going from 2 to 3 life. And every turn, you can do that. So he goes from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, as high as he needs to go, as long as he has 5 cost Egghead characters or events. Now, if these characters have trigger, the one right here does, but if they have trigger, they'll go to hand and do something, or they go to hand and they go right back in the next turn for another 1. So you go, I have 3 life. I take life, it goes to my hand the next turn, I have 3 life. That's probably the most aggressive life like sustainability that we've seen. I know that Enel is pretty nasty, but it has conditions. This feels like You pick up a 5 cost, you put down a 5 cost. You pick up a 5 cost, you put down a 5 cost. So when you get once you get Vegapunk low, it's gonna need to be aggressive because they'll just gain 1 life the next turn, and depending on what the characters do, they could clear your board and you'll have to work back up while they just gain life after life, turn after turn. If games last 5 turns, this could be a 7 life leader if they can get one every single turn, which is pretty nasty. I think it's crazy, and I'm glad that it starts at 2. I think this deck's going to be mulliganing for 5 cost in hand, which is really interesting to think about. Yeah, what do you guys think? This is crazy. Crazy leader effect, in my opinion. I think that it just has the potential to be obnoxious, as yellow does, and that's just leader effects getting your life up. You still have all the yellow characters and cards that add life from the top of your deck, from your hand. You have all of just incredible amount of synergy that you could play and just have an absolutely annoying yellow deck to have to deal with. Let's move on to Lilith. Lilith, yellow character, 3 cost, 5k power, scientist, egghead. On play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 card with the type egghead other than Lilith, and put it into your hand. Then put the rest of the cards to the bottom of your deck in any order. Trigger: if your leader is Vegapunk, play this card. So a searcher that has an on-play trigger is pretty cool. It's not getting placed there from the leader effect, but being able to search, again, we're getting a searcher at 3 cost instead of 1. Seems like it's coming more common than not. And then a 3 cost 5k seems pretty good when it comes to power ratios, being able to search, being able to attack after that. Had to scroll back to the Vegapunk. Place up to 1 cost 5 or less. 5 or less. That's crazy. I thought it was 5. I just did not remember what it said. This card is going into your life as well. Probably most of the egghead stuff is going to be able to go into the life off the leader effect. If they have, again, if they have triggers like this one, they're coming to the board or they're doing something crazy. Yellow is so good. It's so crazy. It does such insane things. If more of the satellites do something that have to do with life and send stuff to life, this is going to be an obnoxious deck that your opponent's just going to be slamming leader into and characters into so that they don't get the chance to use that leader ability. And at 2, yeesh, that's a hard starting point, but we got our scientist crazy guy come into this game, and I'm so excited to see what they do with this this character and his archetype, and it's just exciting times for One Piece. All right, last one. We got one more that was revealed on stream. This is the same card. We're getting its alt and its regular SR right up top. And oh man, both arts are great. We got basically the cover art in the first week of reveals, as well as just an adorable Luffy. Can't wait to see what other Luffys come out this set. Monkey D. Luffy, yellow character, 5 cost, 6k power, 4 emperors, egghead, straw hat crew. Activate main. You may place this character in your trash. If your life is 2 or less, KO up to one of your opponent's cost 4 or less characters, then draw 1 card. Trigger: KO up to one of your opponent's cost 4 or less characters. So this is a egghead type character that's going to go to life and potentially KO up to one of your opponent's 4 or less cards. That's going to happen probably on a majority of the cards that have that come for egghead. Triggers are going to be annoying, and they're going to be placed and not random. And then if you play it instead, you KO him, so probably attack with him, KO, trash him, KO up to one of your opponent's cost 4 or less, and then draw. That's pretty cool. Really like this Luffy. I think it's quite a nasty card with all of its abilities, and at 5 cost, it's at the top end of Vegapunk's quota, and it's gonna probably do some incredible things for this deck. This was just like I said, nonsensical amount of stuff to talk about this week. Thank you for hanging in there. It was just so much, and I'll try to put some chapter titles in here so that you can jump to the stuff that you want to see. I'm saying it at the end for those that already saw that. But thank you all for watching. Until next time, hit that like if you like this video, hit that subscribe if you want to get more One Piece TCG content, and until next time, peace.